Alright guys, welcome to Catapult Carnage. My name's Chris. In today's episode I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful hazel natural tree fork slingshot. You can see it turned out really nice. Got some sniper sling bands on here. Let's see how I made this, then we'll come back to the end, we'll have a few shots. Alright, so here's our hazel natural. I've got it marked where I want to cut it to length. It's well seasoned. So let's get that in the vise now, get it cut to size and start our shaping. I'm going to be using a fine tooth saw to help not rip the bark, and soft jaws in the vise, very important if you're going to keep the bark. You want, the soft jaws allow you to get a good tight fit, obviously without marring what it's holding. So that's our forks marked to length, and hopefully the way I've left that is it'll be slightly over 90 millimeters wide, which is the length that I want it, and then because it's slightly over, then whenever I go to sanding I can square these fork tips off a bit and end up with the 90 millimeter width that I want. Them Irwin saws are fantastic, you know, and they're actually a fair bit cheaper than the backhoes at the minute. So this is our size, feels lovely in the hand, it's a beautiful fork. I cut that one day I was out with Paul. So now let's go over to the linisher and start our sanding. You could obviously do this with sandpaper and a flat surface as well, but I have the tools so I'm going to use them. Okay, so here we're at our linisher. Take that old pad off, that's from sanding my Titans. So I'm going to go here with 150 grit to start my original cut. It's about to get dusty. So let's square off, flatten off the fork tips first. Okay, let's see what we're like for width. We're actually sitting at 92 mil, which is a little bit shorter than what I wanted it. I think this little frame's going to end up 85. Okay, so this is the face of the catapult, so I'm going to take this face down. So here hazel natural is at 85 millimeters, and now that's us finished with 150 grit cut. I'm going to go straight to a 400 grit. Mask on. That's us finished with our 400 grit. I'm going to move over to the bobbin sander. Okay, 150 grit. We're going to shape the cup. We're going to shape the handle. I'm not getting enough cut there with the linisher or with the bobbin sander, so I'm going to move to the linisher. That's much better. Let's go back to the bobbin sander. .400 grit. Okay, so that is me shaping and sanding pretty much finished. I'm really happy with how that feels. Locks into the hand lovely. Little scoop out there. A little bit extra length in the handle just for why not. You can leverage it off your lower palm. Now you can hand sand, or I'm going to hit mine with a Scotch-Brite mop. That's another thing, you don't really want to hit your bark depending on the finish you want to leave on the thing. But I don't like too much out of the bark, but I like it smooth. You know, the higher grit you go, the more raw you leave the bark, is what I'm trying to say, and I like it somewhere in between. You'll see it better when the finish is on. Well, let's go now and hit it with our Scotch-Brite 1000 grit mop, which gives it quite a nice buff. Okay, so that's it. Buffed with a 1000 grit Scotch-Brite mop. See there, we're starting to get a shine off it there that we didn't have just on the 400 grit sandpaper. Let me take it into the daylight. So yeah, there's our buffed natural. At this point, you'd want to do your band grooves. I'd do mine and then I would buff it again. Buff the band grooves. But this doesn't need band grooves. I'm going to burn our logo in here into the middle now. You can see me branding iron. Yeah, something I like about that mop is that you can't get with sandpaper, is it gets in between the bark and sands it without actually taking it down level. You know, it sands, it gets into all them little ridges and little nooks and crannies, and it gives you a finish that you don't get with sandpaper. You can't get that with sandpaper, that finish, because the bark would be more sanded down, clean. It would be more off. It would be like one misogynist layer nearly of like inner bark, rather than this, which is like, you know, you can still see you have them little ridge lines in there, but it still feels lovely in the hands, perfectly smoothed over, and you've maintained a bit more of that natural bark look, which is really what I'm going for. And this is hazel. This is really, really white. You could put that in the oven now that it's seasoned and bake it brown, but the stain, or not my stain, my wax paste will also darken it slightly, so I'm happy with that now. Actually, I've thought about it and I'm going to stick some band grooves in this one, close to the top. Okay, so that is our band grooves done. Now we're just going to go and hit it again with the Scotch-Brite. And you want to wait till you see a bit of smoke starting to come. Gently move it around, you know, putting weight on the top, the side, the bottom, the side, the top, the side. That's the way I like to do it. You can start to see your edges burning. Give it a good push in, pull away. Boom, I'm really happy with that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it's slightly engraved as well. That's what you want to push for. So I'm really happy with that. Okay, let's get it in the dye. Okay, so this is Dartford's interior wood dye. This one here is forest green, and it's a spirit based dye. Alright, so let's pull this out of the dye and give it a wipe in the sunlight. Look at that. Let's give it a wipe because that colour, a lot of that will come off. Oh my god, what an ingenious plan that was, huh? Look at that. Now whenever that green was white, we didn't have any of that. Now look at it, stunning. What a stunner. How awesome is that, guys? Right, so we've got our lovely catapult. Now let's just apply my homemade beeswax teak oil paste. Beautiful. Just spend a minute working that in. Oh, it's really drinking it up too, which is great. I found this to be my favourite finish. Okay, so here we are with our excess beeswax buffed off. I really am happy with that catapult. Let's see how she shoots. Nine out of 10 ain't bad. Really happy with how this turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. What a shot! What a shot! Look at that. Straight on the head, didn't feel a thing.